If you should find yourself in East Sussex, you'll discover one of Britain's most famous heritage railways, intertwined with beautiful countryside surroundings. This is the story of the Bluebell Railway Explained. But what makes the Bluebell Railway so special, and how did this line become one of the UK's leading heritage railways? In this video, we're going to explore the history of the Bluebell Railway, discover the locomotives and stations that make it so unique, and find out why it remains such an important part of Britain's railway heritage. The railway currently runs for approximately 11 miles between Sheffield Park and East Grinstead, with a further 2 stations in between, called Horsted Quains and Kingscote. But the Bluebell Railway, like all heritage lines, has a story that stretches way beyond, back to when it was part of the National Railway network. The original railway was built by the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway as part of its route from East Grinstead to Lewes. Opening in 1882, the line served several communities running through the Sussex countryside. However, by the middle of the 20th century, the line faced increasing competition from road transport and passenger numbers declined. The final British Rail passenger service between Sheffield Park and East Grinstead ran in March of 1958, bringing that chapter of the line to an unfortunate end. However, the railway's future was about to be determined by a group of railway enthusiasts. And so, in 1960, the Bluebell Railway Preservation Society was formed to create the world's first preserved standard gauge heritage railway. The first public heritage service ran in August 1960, and it ran between Sheffield Park and a temporary station named Bluebell Halt. This is because the line as you see it today actually opened in stages. 2 years later, from 1960, the line extended from Bluebell Halt to Horsted Quains. It remained that way for 32 years, when in 1994, the line extended again to Kingscote. Surprisingly, however, it wasn't until 2013 when the line to East Grinstead was completed. This actually makes it more recent than people actually associate with a heritage railway. It is worth noting that one of the more difficult challenges faced in the final expansion was removing 100,000 tonnes of waste that had built up from the Limberhorn cutting, and also the reconstructing of the infrastructure to connect the line with the National Rail network at East Grinstead. When visiting this line, each station tells its own story, with its own individual features. Starting at Sheffield Park, it plays host to its own museum called Steamworks, and is also where the line's locomotive workshop and sheds are located. Secondly, we have Horsted Quains, which is set in a 1930s theme with 5 platforms. This makes it Horsted Quains, the largest preserved heritage railway station in the UK. The station has also been featured in many TV and film productions, most notably Downton Abbey, Agatha Christie's Poirot, and The Woman in Black. The penultimate station we see is Kingscote. Now, it may not have much to see and do as the other ones, however, this station provides the perfect place to alight the train and relax with a large picnic area, but also with the Kingscote Heritage Trail. If you're visiting from the northern end of the line, then most likely you would have arrived on either a Southern or a Thameslink service at the connecting National Rail station at East Grinstead. In fact, the Heritage Railway platform is platform 3. I didn't know this fact, however I did see it on the Bluebell Railway website. This, however, is what makes the railway so accessible for visitors coming from different parts of the country. In order to make the line a success, the railway needed an extensive collection of locomotives and rolling stock, and today it has the second largest collection of steam locomotives, second only after to the National Railway Museum. Without doubt, the most famous locomotive on the railway is of course Stepney, an engine known globally after being part of the Thomas the Tank Engine books and TV series. It's now awaiting overhaul, but you can visit and step inside the actual locomotive in the Steamworks Museum at Sheffield Park. Although you can see its classmate called Fenchurch, who is still in service. These are just a couple of examples of its collection, along with other steam locomotives from different railway companies such as British Railways and the Great Western Railway. The Bluebell does have a few diesels on show, such as their resident class of 09, 33 and 73 locomotives. The railway also has an extensive collection of historic passenger carriages which represent different periods, such as Victorian and Edwardian carriages through to the ones used by British Railways. Like other heritage lines, the Bluebell operates regular services with a demand for special events and galas, which always prove to be extremely popular with visitors and with the addition of visiting locomotives. In recent times, the line has seen some very famous visitors running along its rails, such as Tornado, Sir Nigel Gresley, and of course, Flying Scotsman. We also have to give a mention to Beachy Head, which was an old locomotive which was restored and repaired at the Bluebell Railway. None of this, however, would be possible without the immense amount of volunteers that are involved in areas including engineering, restoration, signalling and station operations. This volunteer involvement is a key reason why the railway has always been able to maintain such a large collection. More than 6 years after preservation began, the Bluebell Railway continues to operate both as a working heritage railway and centre for the preservation of British railway history. Interestingly, the line could one day get even longer, as since 1997, the Bluebell has acquired the track bed towards Ardingly. This has always been a keen goal to reopen the branch, although extensive work has been needed over the years, with embankments being extended towards Ardingly. Also, re-signalling work had taken place at Horsted Keynes in preparation for the eventual relaying of the track. Hopefully this will one day be completed and become part of this wonderful heritage line. So after all of that, it brings us to the end of our look at the Bluebell Railway. As always, I would like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I also hope that you found it to be very informative. And if you did, make sure to like and subscribe the video and to the channel, but don't forget to leave a comment with any feedback or your own experiences of the Bluebell Railway. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.